Hey guys, today I am finally showing you how I do a full clean out of the Beaker cage behind me. Now I'm going to start this video out by answering a few of the commonly asked questions I get on these cage cleaning videos, but if you want to jump straight ahead to the cleaning itself, I will pop a timestamp on screen now and you can just click ahead to that if that's what you want to see. They really don't take much time to clean at all, especially as I'm spot cleaning a couple of times a week. Now spot cleaning only takes 5-10 minutes maximum, but even a full clean out only takes about 20 minutes, so it's not long at all. The larger your cage gets, the more surface space your hamster has to live on, which means it gets dirty much more slowly and you need to clean it out much less frequently. My Beaker cage is 150 by 60 centimeters, and I'll pop the square inches on screen now, and this only needs cleaning out at an average about every 6 weeks. Also, I should mention that I don't have a set date that I clean my cages. I don't do it exactly every 6 weeks or put it down in my calendar or anything like that. I do judge my cages by eye because I can tell, when they're starting to get dirty, when they might need a clean out. This is something you will pick up if you own hamsters for a while. The more experience you get, the easier it becomes to tell when a cage does need cleaning out. If you're new to hamster keeping though, keeping a schedule, having a set date may be really useful to you. And last of all, before getting into the clean out, I'll just answer a couple of questions about the cage itself. If you don't know, this is one of my DIY cages. All of my cages are my own designs and DIYs. I have a whole playlist showing how I built them in case you're interested in watching any of those. This one is called the Beaker cage. It is home to Iodine, my long-haired female Syrian who is now 22 months old, so she is an old lady. Unfortunately, Iodine has allergies to certain substrates, so in her cage we have to use wood pellets as the base, and I also use some homemade paper bedding on top of that during the colder seasons just to add a little more warmth in there. Wood pellets are perfectly safe for hamsters, but I wouldn't normally recommend using them on their own unless it's a special circumstance, because it is hard for your hamster to burrow in the pellets. So what I recommend doing is, if you do want to use them because they are so great for odor control, mix them with another safe substrate. My personal preference is to mix them with aspen for my mouse and also for my dwarf hamster sometimes. It makes it so much easier for them to burrow in. It also really helps with odor control. Anyway, I think I've answered all your usual questions. Now let's finally get into cleaning the cage. Before I began cleaning, I moved Iodine into her travel cage. Now this is actually a normal commercial hamster cage. I bought it about 5 years ago, but can you believe these sorts of things are still being sold as permanent cages? It's pretty disgusting when you think about it. Anyway, this is what the cage looked like before I started cleaning, and from a distance it doesn't look too bad. But there are some areas worse than others. For example, underneath the feeding shelf is Iodine's toilet area that always looks gross after just a couple of days. And I think she's also been using the foraging area as a toilet recently. Also, her feeding shelf is, as always, covered in yeast powder footprints. Luckily, they wipe away really easily, it just doesn't look that great. Before cleaning starts, I have to remove and sort through her toys. Now, some of these will be going back into her cage, so I put those to one side, and everything else goes into a pile for cleaning. I don't clean the toys that I want to put back in unless they're actually dirty, because I don't want to remove her scent from them for no good reason. Hamsters use scent to navigate and recognize their territory, so it's really important, if you can, to leave some of their scent in their home. I'm also taking out her ramps and her bridge to, again, give them a clean, but also to make it much easier for me to clean the base of the cage. The dirty substrate is the next thing that has to go. Now, with my other animals, I usually do the 1/3 cleaning method, where you mix 1/3 of the old substrate with 2/3 of the new substrate. But I've stopped doing that with Iodine recently because I'm a little bit worried about her fur again. I can't tell if it's thinning naturally because of her age, which would be perfectly normal and nothing to worry about, or if something has recently triggered her allergies again, so I'm just being extra careful and extra cautious with her. This is one of those cases where you can't be too safe. After scooping out as much substrate as I could with a dustpan and brush, I went back in again with a vacuum cleaner to get into the corners and hard to reach areas such as around the rocks on the feeding shelf. The next thing to do is wipe down the cage, and I'm using a disinfecting spray this time because, as mentioned, I'm being extra cautious with iodine right now. The spray I'm using is a homemade one. It's 1 part water to 1 part vodka. I use this all around my home for various cleaning tasks, as not only is alcohol a natural disinfectant, but it's also a great anti-odor spray, which when you have dogs in your home is a necessity. Some people will also use a water vinegar mix as a disinfectant, but I find the smell to be really overpowering and bordering on unpleasant, whereas vodka spray has almost no scent, so I just prefer it for that reason. After spraying, I left it to settle for about 2 minutes, and then I wiped it all up with some kitchen tissue. Now after this, I was left with a couple of areas that needed some more work to clean them properly, as these were mainly places that iodine had used as a toilet. To clean them thoroughly, I used a firm bristle toothbrush, which was sprayed with a disinfectant and just scrubbed really hard. The dirt came out pretty quickly, and then I just gave the area another wipe down. I also cleaned down and disinfected all of the shelves. Anywhere that iodine could walk needed to be cleaned. Once all of that was finished and everything was dry, I let the cage air out for a few minutes before adding in the clean substrate, which was just more pellets as usual. When I'm spreading the pellets around the cage, I try to make sure the entire floor has an even coverage, otherwise areas where the substrate layer is too thin become hot spots for dirt buildup. Just as a reminder, in normal circumstances, a hamster should have at least a couple of inches of substrate to burrow in. As mentioned, iodine's a bit of a special case, but if you want to see a more normal setup, check out my cleaning video for osmium. Io's ramps and wheel had also got a little dirty, so again I used the toothbrush and disinfectant to give them all a really good clean before putting them back into her cage. So at this point the cage is completely clean and ready for me to add in her toys, hides, and other things to keep her happy and active. However, I'm going to be very mean now and I'm going to cut the video off here. If you guys want to see the final setup of her new autumn theme, you're just going to have to come back for the next video. I will be giving you a full and detailed tour of it. In the meantime though, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. You can also share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to come back for the next video and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.